Hi, my name is Boardman. I'm a freelance consultant who has been working with charities, social enterprises, heritage museums and creative organisations for over 20 years, predominantly working with them on sustainability, organisational resilience, governance, income diversification, and probably for the past 5 or so years being working more closely with heritage, museums and creative organisations. And I am also a business advisor for Creative United. Change happens. It happens to any organisation and any business. Managing change is when you proactively make the most of the changes to benefit your business. The change management process is usually excludes establishing a need for the change in the first place, implementing new procedures and policies and frameworks to embed that change, and then monitoring and reviewing that change. There are many risks associated with change management process, and that can include how you communicate that change within your business, how your staff feel about the change, but also whether the new systems, processes and frameworks that you've implemented are effective. And finally, whether the change has been properly managed throughout the transition period. Risk management is the process of identifying, evaluating and controlling the risks that are associated with the change you're trying to implement. It will be really difficult to eliminate all the risks that you've identified. So really the aim is to try and reduce those risks to a level that your business is comfortable with. The biggest risks facing creative businesses right now, first and foremost, I think the COVID-19 pandemic is one of the biggest risks facing this sector. It has impacted on every individual and organisation operationally. And most, if not all, creative businesses in the UK will have been impacted by it. It may be to do with managing the loss of income that you've had over the past 10 weeks lockdown. It might be to do with how you're managing your staff, whether you've still got staff working or whether you've got staff that are furloughed. It might also be to do with whether you are able to financially weather the pandemic, not only during this lockdown, but also looking at the recovery phase as well and how long that recovery phase is going to be. And it might be to do with whether your services and products moving forward are the right services and products now. People's consumer habits may have changed because of the pandemic, and this might impact on what it is that you offer within your business. And finally, you've got to think about what your business is going to look like moving forward in the new normal. The second risk associated for creative businesses right now is digital technology. For your business to be successful in this digital age, you need to make sure that you are able to promote and sell your products and services across a range of digital and social media platforms. This is especially relevant in the current situation that we're in, as the majority of consumers have now had to adapt and change the way that they buy their products and services because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of us who were used to going into shops to buy products or services are now not able to do so. So we're having to use our desktops, our laptops, our tablets and our smartphones to buy everything that we need. If your business does not have the right digital technology to allow you to promote and sell your services and your product online, then you may struggle financially. The third risk associated for creative businesses is thinking about starting up and scaling up your business. Moving from a hobby business to a professional business is not easy, and you need to consider an array of factors, including whether you need financial resource to be able to start up, whether you have the right business plan in place to allow you to do that, whether you need additional staff to help you develop your business into a more professional business. And also then once you have done that and you've got the target market and you've got the customers, then actually that's when you might start to think about scaling up. Now you may have your business plans and your financial plans in place to enable you to do that, but you're going to have to make sure that you've provided additional detail and additional financial planning detail as well. Because when you're scaling up, you may be looking at wanting additional social investment, additional finance, additional grants, or additional income from somewhere. And that means you need to have robust and resilient plans in place, and you need to have done your market research to make sure that your business, when it scales up, is going to be a viable and profitable business moving forward. My top tips for managing change in a climate of uncertainty are: number one, make sure that you discuss the changes that you are planning to make with your whole team. Giving them time to understand what it is that you're trying to do, and giving them time to let it sink in. And coupled with that is also communicate, communicate, communicate. You cannot communicate enough to make sure that people understand the change that you're planning to make within your business. If you think that just talking to somebody on one platform is enough, then think again. You need to make sure that everybody that is involved with your business has had an opportunity to understand what it is that you're going to do. My second top tip about managing change is really have a clear idea about what it is that you're doing and why you're making that change. If you don't have a clear vision about the difference that that change is going to make to your business, then how can you expect anybody else to have an understanding of what that difference is going to make to your business? So be specific about the benefits that that change is going to make to your business so that everybody else understands too. My third top tip on managing change is start the change process with some really, really quick wins. Do not bite the bullet with one of the biggest challenges in your business that you know you're going to struggle to make that change with. Start with something that's really easy to change, and then that will give positive momentum to not only you but the rest of the team to get involved with the change and to start to make those changes throughout the business, including those challenging areas. My final tip on managing change is make sure that you review, update and amend your business plan accordingly to fit in with the change that you've implemented within your business. My top tips on managing risk in a climate of uncertainty are: number one, identify the risks within your business. So use your business plan to identify where potential risks might occur relating to the change that you're trying to implement. Top tip number two is, once you've identified the risks, that you need to assess the likelihood of it happening and the impact that it might have on your business if it does. There are several risk management templates out there that you can use to help you do this if you're wanting to do it. Top tip number three is, you then need to prioritize the risks in order of importance. Don't try to deal with every single risk associated that you've identified straight away, because you won't be able to do that. So give yourself a realistic plan of where you can look at how you manage the different risks that you've identified. And even if you look at them over short, medium and long term, but don't try and deal with all the risks straight away. And you can't remove every risk. You've just got to be able to reduce and control the risks to a level that you're happy with. And my final tip is to make sure that you monitor and review the risks. So use a risk register to monitor them on a regular basis, and do that alongside your strategic and operational plans so that they all align. And make sure that you monitor them on a regular basis and update them on a regular basis. Produce a risk assessment plan if you haven't already got one. Make sure you've got a plan for reopening. And this is where you can maximise on those organisations that have already reopened in Europe and globally. They have plans and they have case studies that you can look at and you can utilise to help inform the plan that you want to develop for your organisation when it's looking to reopen. To quote a bit of a cliche, don't reinvent the wheel. There are documents and advice and templates out there already. So make the most of those and amend them and alter them to suit the needs of your business, getting ready for reopening. How do you create a business strategy that's going to allow for possible long-term change within the sector? Firstly, look at the business plan that you have. It should allow you to have some flexibility anyway. Your strategy should give you the ability to adapt to both internal and external changes accordingly. So if you've got that, then that should be okay. And you need to review and revise it so that it's appropriate for the recovery phase after the pandemic, but also for long term and how that's going to impact against your business. Secondly, you should also have a risk management plan. And that framework and plan, you can again adapt accordingly to the risks that you've identified from within the lockdown, but also for the recovery phase after the pandemic. Make sure that you amend, update, revise, and review that risk management plan accordingly. Thirdly, look at what those potential long-term changes are going to mean for your business. Are you able to adapt? Are you able to change? Or is that going to take you away from your original mission? Now's the time to start thinking about what the new normal is going to mean for you and your business and how that is going to impact on you moving forward. And finally, connect, communicate, and collaborate. By talking to like-minded organisations, individuals, and support agencies out there, you are going to be able to access a whole range of information, advice, support, and tips that will enable you to prepare your business for the long term and the new normal that we're all facing moving forward.